Greetings, webheads, and welcome to episode 6 of Witty Banter, yet another Marvel Crisis Protocol podcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Alex.
David.
John Paul.
We are here to help you get better at and have more fun with your Crisis Protocol. Gentlemen, what have we been up to since the last time we got together?
Drinking and drugs.
Yep, mostly a lot of that. The Adepticon stuff came out. We got to see that at least.
That
Yeah.
was cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
We had a conversation off mic. I think we're all in agreement that we're all horror comics fans and that the Tomb of Dracula stuff looks fantastic.
It looks super cool. I'm excited for that, for sure.
Also, none of us believe that the Tomb of Dracula terrain is actually playable.
Yeah.
I don't even know
I
if it's
definitely-
solid. It might just be completely hollow in the back.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it hard to believe that it's playable.
It would be very weird to have Tomb of Dracula with like this huge gap in the back of it, but what are you gonna do?
I think
Maybe
for
you're just gonna-
everybody listening right now, I think it's important to preface this with saying that this is the first episode we've recorded remotely. Typically, we're in a room together,
That's right.
but we're just hanging out on Discord right now.
That's right. This is our first remote. This is our first remote recording. So, be anxious to hear your feedback if this is better or worse. So we'll find out. Since we have gotten together, we do have 2 new Patreons to thank. We have Spidey Dude, who's come in as a Spider Friend, and we
Hell
have
yeah.
Nick.
On brand,
Yeah.
baby.
Let's go. He knows his audience, man. And we also have Nick Aquino, who's coming in as an Itsy Bitsy Spider. So both of you guys, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. We've been really excited to see the kind of support that we've gotten for the show in just the few episodes that we've had. If you want to come into the neighborhood, come join us. It's just $1 an episode if you want to be, or $1 a month, excuse me, if you want to be a Spider Friend. Or excuse me, for an Itsy Bitsy Spider, $5 a month for a Spider Friend. All you got to do is go to patreon.com/wittybantercast. Come join us. What else are you going to do with that $1 a month? I mean, come on now.
Right. Buy some gum,
So
I guess.
I do like gum. I will say that actually is a pretty good use for the money. I'm not going to lie. One of the benefits for being a Patreon is you get at least 1 entry or maybe 2 into our giveaways. And because we've had such good support from the Patreons, we are now able to make our giveaways monthly. So we are now planning to have a monthly giveaway. We are going to have a special giveaway that we're going to talk about here in just a second that is actually going to happen next episode. And then starting next episode, we'll have start a regular monthly giveaway that'll coincide with the new releases. So plan is new release comes out, you'll be online to maybe win a box. So, but only if you're a member of the Patreon and It's Bits Spiders get 1 entry and Spider Friends get 2 entries. But there's another way to get an entry as well. Gentlemen, how else besides being a Patreon can one earn an entry for these fabulous prizes?
Leave a
We
review,
need your
bitch.
feedback.
That's right. We want to follow us, rate, and review us on whichever platform of choice you have. We need to see that you did it. So send us a screenshot. Get us something showing that you've got it. If you subscribe to us, if you follow us, if you leave us a rating, if you leave us a review, that helps other people find us, so we can keep growing the community and keep moving things forward. So we'd really like to do that. This giveaway, though, is something a little different. JP, tell us why this giveaway is a little different.
Well, there is not an official AMG release this month, so I am enslaving myself to paint a model for you guys. Whoever wins, it's going to be. There's a few stipulations. It's got to be 4 thread or less, and it's got to be a single model. So no No models with grunts. Nobody who can transform like Hood or Emma, and like nobody with a bunch of. Well, I guess there's only one person that does that. It's Nick Fury Senior, I think, is the only one with more than one model on the base. But I'm going to. You guys can commission me to paint one of those models to however you want. I guess you can pick custom colors. If you just want me to paint just like a standard outfit, I can do that. But yeah, I'm gonna be at your I'm gonna be
Call.
huh?
Beck and
Yeah, I'm
call.
gonna be your bitch. Whatever you want.
Okay. All right. Well,
And
and
webheads, this is for real. JP's got the skills. We will start putting some of his work up. We'll start putting some pictures up on the socials so you can see just what kind of a quality painter he is. So this is a big deal. I mean, I know. There's, I think in some ways the community is divided. There's some members of the community where hobby's a big part of it, and even though, like for me, I know I don't have the same kind of skill level as others, but it's way more fun to me to have the models I painted on the table as opposed to something that might look better. Whereas I think a lot of other people, the gaming's the big thing, and if you can get someone else to come in and roll and knock the model out of the park like JP does, then that's cool. So we're giving you that opportunity.
Yes.
well, and I'll say, JP is the best painter I personally know. So
Same.
So I guess I'm not gonna do a rush job. It's gonna be something that I would play. It's not gonna be like Jonathan Ho level. There can only be a few of those guys in the world. But I'll probably end up putting 10 hours plus or minus 2 to 4 hours into it, and it'll look really freaking good. So
But the thing is, webheads, if we're going to do this is a quick turnaround because we are making this drawing next episode. So 2 weeks from now, when we drop our next episode, one of you lucky sons of sons are going to be getting a JP painted model. So put your thinking caps on, figure out who you'd like. And next episode, if you're the lucky webhead, you'll get to have that conversation with JP and get him to make something spiffy for your table.
custom paint job. If you want them in a thong, just let me know.
Honestly, you should
Wow.
make it Sabretooth.
Fuck you,
Ooh.
Alex.
I may have to cheat and win this thing just to have him be painting me a saber tooth. That's such a good idea.
that's hilarious.
That's fantastic.
I'm officially
Okay.
withdrawing this painting thing.
Too late. It's on record
It's over.
already. I've got it recorded. You're stuck.
Nothing starting with a saber, ending with a tooth.
So one of the other benefits that you get if you are a Patreon is you get a priority in terms of us dojoing your roster. Anybody that's listening, if you want us to dojo your roster, if you want to send us a roster and have us help make it better, send it to us. But if you're a Patreon, you get to jump the line and get to go first. And Spidey Dude has sent us a roster that he'd like us to help him with. So I'm just going to run it through real quick, and then we'll give you guys an opportunity to go over it. Was looking to get your opinion on my foes list. I'm trying to lean into playing somewhat tanky and objective focused. I have Mysterio there to help with the dreaded ease. I'm not a big competitive player currently, but I'm starting to lean into playing a bit more competitively. My lists usually flavor a more thematic side. God bless you, brother. You and me both. So I don't have every model at the moment, but I'm not against buying more because that's the fun of the hobby. Characters: Doc Ock, Sinister Scientist, Blizzard, Rhino, Beta Ray Bill, Mysterio, Venom, Spectacular Spider-Man, Toad, Amazing Spider-Man, Black Cat, Tactics, Fallback, Lethal Protector, Mission Objective, Patch Up, Sinister Traps, Grand Illusion, This Is Our Day, This Is a Robbery, Brace for Impact, Exceptional Healing, Secures, Riot Spark Over Extremis, Mutant Madmen, Scoundrels Form Sinister Syndicate. Extract. Paranoia pummels populace. Spider infected invade Manhattan. Struggle for the cubes continues. Alex, what are your first thoughts when you had a chance to go over this?
My first thoughts were just having played both of them, not religiously, but a decent amount. Both Web Warriors and Foes, that is. I feel as though it's trying to split the two, and if you're trying to be objective focused but also tanky, I feel as though you got to lead towards one or the other if you want to play Foes. Or webs, and it just feels like this list is trying to do both. And then the other thought I had was Mysterio's there for the dreaded ease, but I feel as though spider foes like ease. They're just kind of bullies, and it gives them a little bit better power management, because most of the ease, they're just normal secures or researchers, so you don't have to pay to flip.
David, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with Alex. I definitely think you could run the ease, especially demons, right? Because I mean that's a good way to use Ox leadership, right? To like pass the incinerate.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
Mysterio is a good example, being on demons. He doesn't care as much as everybody else, so
Yeah, he really doesn't. I also think I'm not sure about the inclusion of spectacular and ASM. It's kind of I mean, I like ASM and I like spectacular, but they're a little weird in foes, I think.
So, let me before I do. JP, what were your thoughts when you took a look at the list?
So it starts off really strong. Doc Ock, Lizard, Rhino, Beta Ray Bill. I can't argue with that. Like that's just solid.
Yeah, that's the pick when you're playing foes. I
It's
think
just
you got it.
yeah. That's your core is Doc Ock, Lizard, Rhino, and Beta Ray Bill is like one of the best splashes at the moment right now. I mean, the first four are amazing. After that, I mean, they're still really good. I think Mysterio, I've said, not on cast, but you guys know, I've said Mysterio is just kind of a feel bad model to me personally.
How come?
Tricks and Traps is like a feast or famine superpower, and I usually starve. So it feels bad for me when I'm playing Mysterio, but it also feels bad when I play against Mysterio and he gets it off. So either way,
Yeah.
like it just like after like round 3, I would say, like Mysterio just kind of evaporates to an attack because you can afford to pay the 2. So if you can't get your tricks and traps off, bye bye Mysterio. But if you can, then he just sticks around and is annoying for the rest of the game. But it's just not he's not a character I like to play because I whiff the tricks and traps, and he's not a character I necessarily like to play against because I get tricks and traps and then he's annoying and pokes me. So he's just a feels bad model overall to me. I'm sure that's a hot take. Other people might have a different opinion, but yeah, go screw yourself.
I can agree with you to a point there, because I would agree. I've played Mysterio probably more than all 4 of us, the most out of the 4 of us.
Definitely more than me.
Like him.
Fuck that guy.
And he's just you're right. If you don't get your tricks and traps off, he feels bad. And inevitably, if you play against somebody else, they're gonna roll 3 crits in a wild and just blow you up.
Yep. Yeah. I will say that he is good on an E. I agree. However, the list is not running E's. That doesn't mean that it shouldn't be prepared for E's, but it's slightly less important because it's not running E's. Although, I guess you could argue that maybe it should run some. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where foes like I don't know what area they occupy in the meta at the moment. I think I talked about this on the last cast. Like I don't think they're bad necessarily, but I don't know. They probably would find the most success as a mid-range team. So I think you would want to build them toward being mid-range because I don't think they out attrition, and I don't think they out scenario. So they have to occupy a middle ground there. And I think that's probably where we should tune it if he's planning on taking it into a more competitive direction.
So first thing, when I was going through the list, first thing I noticed was you're intending to run a Spider Foes roster, and you have 2 Spider-Men and 0 Green Goblins. And it just seems to me that, at least thematically for nothing else, but it seems like you're limiting yourself if you're going to have just Sinister Scientist Doc Ock as your leader.
I wholeheartedly agree. I
agree as well.
I was expecting a Green Goblin somewhere. Not that I think his leadership's actually kind of trash, but it does give you something to do against a team that wants nothing to do with combat. Like if you go into Web Warriors, you are just not using Ox leadership at all. I mean, you will. Don't get me wrong. They're going to throw attacks into you. But the last thing Web Warriors wants to do is to get into a firefight with you. That's where Doc Ock's leadership kind of shines. So I think you want a flexible leader pick into that type of match.
Agreed. And I mean, as a 4 threat, I don't think Goblin's a bad 4 threat.
Well, and the other thing too is webs are popular in the meta. So like having the Nemesis thing with Parker, actually might turn out to be okay.
That's just what I was thinking. Having a dedicated Peter Parker murderer might be useful nowadays.
With the recent Amazing Spider-Man buff and the release of Spectacular Spider-Man, you will undoubtedly run into Peter Parker on the table when you play against webs. I guarantee it. They're placing one version of him on the table, no matter what.
And if you're gonna go to any type of event, your odds of not playing against a Web Warriors player at this point are almost 0.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be there for sure.
What does Nemesis do for everybody listening? It allows them to. They have to make the first attack against that character if they're within range 3, I believe, and they get to reroll all dice. Any dice,
including skulls.
Including skulls. That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's not their first attack. Their first action has to be an attack, which also gets around stagger.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Because so the first attack with stagger, the first action has to be shaking stagger, but with the Nemesis, the card forces you to make your first attack, the first action be an attack against that character. So that's how it gets around the stagger, is what you're saying.
Now you still have to take do you take a stagger in the second action then, or how does that work?
You do not.
No.
Yeah,
stagger specifically states you have to shake as your first action, but because the character card has a different rule, that overrides the main rule book.
Yeah, that's if you're if you know you're going to be
that throws a funny interaction in there with Doc Ock's leadership, because can't you pass stagger? Or is that Hydra? That's Hydra.
That's Hydra.
Doc is incinerate.
You just remove
stun. No, incinerate, slow, and
shock.
Shock. Yes.
You just remove it, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
If an ally suffers damage.
Mm-hmm.
So Spidey Dude says he wants to be tankier and he wants to play objectives more. So if that's kind of his goal with this list, what are a couple of tweaks that we could suggest for it?
I would suggest swapping probably ASM for Ultron. I really like Ultron in those. I mean, Ultron is good in general, but like, assuming we're talking about Ultron 2, by the way. We're talking about the
Right.
one from the new core set.
Yeah, Metal Tyrant Ultron.
Yeah, he's just such a good model, and like
Yep.
he displaces and
And we know
tough.
Spidey Dude's got him because he's got Spectacular.
I will say that
Yeah.
taking anybody with spider sense or superior spider sense is definitely not as good outside of affiliation. Simply because Miles' leadership allows you to reroll out of Skull Lock, which is really important sometimes, depending on your role. It makes Amazing Spider-Man way tankier than he normally would be. Sometimes if you take him out of affiliation and you roll like 1 or 2 skulls, he kind of just melts, which is not good for a 5 threat.
Yeah, it's not good. Definitely not.
I mean, I guess I like Spectacular Spider-Man as a character. I'm not really seeing how much he brings to the table, particularly with this roster and what he's trying to do. And if you're looking, I personally think if you swap him in for Goblin, you just have a lot more flexibility in terms of what you want to do with your foes.
I agree for the most part. The only issue that I'm seeing here is if you drop Spectacular, the 3 threats are getting kind of low.
Yes.
So the math can be kind of weird.
Yep. Well, he's still got.
Well,
Lizard-
the other problem is Mysterio's not in every Crisis character, so like he's
Yeah,
kind of one of
right.
those 3s that is going to be on the periph, and so I don't know. Yeah, you don't want to. I don't know if you want to necessarily drop a 3 out of the roster for a 4 if you've already got Mysterio in as a 3. Like you might need another 3.
So maybe if you're going to bring Goblin in, you bring him in for Mysterio.
I think at a certain
No,
point
I'm
you
sorry.
have to.
That just continued the problem, didn't it?
I think it is at a certain point you have to consider how wide you might theoretically go. Because if you're only going 5 wide, the splashes aren't as, or I guess I shouldn't say splash. The 3s are not as pivotal to it. But if you want to go like 6 wide at a certain point, I think like an affiliated 3 is more important then.
That's true, yeah. Because I mean, yeah, thinking about that, how often are you going to play more than 18 threats for it to? No, I guess 17 threat for
'Cause
it
you
to
could
be
go
a
like-
problem.
You could go like 4-4, 3-3-3-2. That takes you to 19. Or you could go 4-4-3-3-3-3 at 20 for 6 wide. To be able to go 6 wide at 18 would be pretty difficult. You would have to bring in Craven, I believe.
Yep.
And it would force you to run Yeah, it would force you to run Mysterio.
Yeah.
So that's a little. I don't know if that's super doable. So you're probably going to end up running 5 wide most times with this list, unless
I would agree, probably.
unless we bring something in like a Craven, which you guys know I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, he does get he is killy for a 3 threat. He's above average for killy. But he has no control.
Yes.
And
Well-
a lot of his kit banks on that wild on his builder.
Yeah, it does.
Or is it his gainer? Whatever the kukri thing is.
Yeah, it's his gainer.
Okay. A lot of his like his power like is directly proportional to whether you can roll wilds on the kukri strike.
Yeah. And it's it's super difficult. And the 1 reroll is just not enough to really push for Craven, I guess.
I mean, he can shred if he's just standing in place. Like he throws
Yeah.
5 with a reroll into 7 with a reroll for a 3 threat is pretty freaking good. But like if you can't roll that wild and the kukri hit, like he's pretty stationary, which isn't always what you want to be doing.
No.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And like, what's his superpower?
Yes,
Expert
what to say.
tracker. I think
The extra
is-
dice.
Corner the beast. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
expert corner the beast. Yeah, that's completely useless.
Corner the beast is actually kind of good in certain situations for sure.
I was about to say,
It's good into
Any-
webs.
I was about to say anybody that's named Spider-Man might not be real happy with it.
Yeah.
Agreed, but like the whole reason why it's not that great is part of the reason as to why Craven's not even in the list. He doesn't get played, so why is it? It's just I don't think it's the greatest of superpowers. It's very situational. It's
And to
only good against webs.
I don't know if it's only good against webs, but another thing we have to consider is the callback to Spidey Dude's intentions of the list with being tanky and objective focus, which I don't think Craven is necessarily.
No,
Yeah,
he's not
he's
good
not.
at either of those.
Yeah.
No, he's No, I mean, he's got Black Cat, who's both of those. I mean, that's getting work done for him with her.
Well,
Yeah,
the other
even
thing
though
we're
she's
ignoring too, right, is the fact that the new foes are coming out in what, a month?
Right.
So
Yeah.
like,
That's a whole
I'm
nother
sure-
can of worms.
yeah, I'm
Well,
sure some of those guys are going to end up in here, right? Like,
I would-
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it off cast, but some of you guys are more excited than I am for these 3 that have been revealed.
Well, we may or may not be discussing one of them in this cast, so stay tuned, Spidey Dude, and the rest of you.
I personally don't think that the new foes offer a lot to the affiliation to elevate them past where they are right now. Sandman, the verdict is still out. Like 2 grunts. Like I feel like he has a lot of weaknesses, but he has a lot of strengths. So
well, and we
don't
haven't
know.
seen the back
Verdict's still
side
out
of
on him.
Sandman's card either.
Yeah.
So like,
And
I
in
can't imagine it
tactics cards.
changing too much. Yeah, I mean, we have
probably
definitely stay
won't.
tuned for tactics cards.
Right.
yeah, that too.
That's fair.
I would like to see him get a tactics card that would like let him put out a grunt without taking damage.
Yeah, taking away his grunts is just so devastating to him. Like his kit is just not very good at recovering from having his grunts killed, and his grunts get killed by him getting dazed, which is really
Yeah,
really
that sucks.
bad.
That sucks. Yeah.
So let's lean in. How about with his tactics cards? Do we see anything with his tactics cards that might suggest to be able to get him closer to his objective?
Well, if we're sticking with the idea of replacing ASM with Ultron, there's really only one tactics card I don't like in this roster if we replace ASM with Ultron, and that's dropping Grand Illusion or Age of Ultron. Grand Illusion is neat. The text is really good. The problem is it's stable to Mysterio, and well, not necessarily stable to Mysterio, but you have to have Mysterio to play it. And Mysterio's power generation isn't that great to begin with, and it's 4 power. And I'd rather just spend the power on tricks and traps or doing other things with him.
Well, and it also is only range 3, so
Right.
like. The other, I'm not a big fan of This Is Our Day. Like,
Yeah, I knew
weird.
you would definitely say something about it, and JP, I expect him to say something about it. I like the card, and to go along with the theme of being objective based, I don't hate it.
So David, what are your thoughts? Describe this as our day, just so for those of you who don't have it right in front of you.
So this is our day. It's one of those cards that's like, hold on, I'm pulling it up to make sure that I have it exactly.
During the power phase, if you have fewer victory points, an allied auto can play it. If an allied character drops an objective, you place it instead of your opponent, and you place it within 3. And then if an allied non-grunt character would be dazed and KO'd, each enemy within 2 suffers 1. So if you're behind, it lets you have a lot more control over what happens to objectives that are getting dropped, and lets you hand out a little damage if somebody else on your team gets hurt.
Well, and that's my problem with it, right? The problem with it is that if you're gonna be wanting to be able to place the objectives yourself, you're gonna be holding them, which means that you're probably gonna be outscoring your opponent. So you're not gonna have an opportunity to play this.
Right.
And that's my issue with it.
So
Like-
I guess someone could argue that it's like insurance for when things go bad. If you're winning, who cares that it's not playable because you're winning? But I'm kind of in the same boat with David here.
Well, and like if you're like, oh, I'm holding this because I'm winning and I'm not playing it, well then you're essentially playing with 4 tactics cards, which is
fine if you're winning, right? But
yeah.
I feel like you have a better chance to win if all 5 of your tactics cards are live.
Yeah.
I feel like the usefulness of the card is limited to a very specific window in the game if it even happens. And it can be very impactful. Like placing an objective 3 is insane.
And getting to choose where it goes is
Yeah.
also insane.
Like they're
Yeah,
never
that's
going to
a
get
good
that
point.
thing.
Yeah. But the window for how to play it is just like,
It's awkward.
yeah, I don't like it.
I will say it is a card that does not require power to play, which is not nothing. But it is in the well, I guess it's in the power phase, so that's a good thing.
Yeah,
It's in the power phase. It costs 0.
You know, as much as we've talked off the cast about playing with both autos in your list, I don't think it's worth it. But if you want to, I don't hate it. This can be played with either Doc Ock.
Right.
I am an Ock 1 hater, and I am not ashamed to admit that. I do not like well-laid plans. It is also one of those cards that's a feels bad.
Yeah.
Because it requires Critter Wild, which on 5 dice, I don't know. For the amount of input you need for that card, 3 power off of Doc and 3 power off of Goblin, like 6 power to roll some dice and maybe have some people drop stuff doesn't
You
feel
better
great.
hope you get to use it, because if one of them is dazed or KO'd,
Yes.
you don't get to use it that turn or ever.
Yes, correct.
Maybe
so it's
this
also
is
super awkward.
Maybe this is thinking too hard, but is carrying exceptional just for Lizard worth a tactics card slot?
You're reading my mind right now, Patrick. I'd
Yeah,
like to
I was
see.
going to go down that route too. Like, I don't hate exceptional in the list if you're like fishing for a 10th card.
I don't hate it. I would like to see if it remains in the list. I would like to see Logan added.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
I
even
like
just like
Logan.
X23. I wouldn't hate
Yeah.
X23.
Yeah,
in that
X23 would be
side.
great
Just
too, yeah.
Somebody.
Yeah,
Agreed.
if you're looking for another 3 threat, it just seems like I love Lizard. I the more I play him, the more I like him. But it just never feels like using exceptional on him gets you the kind of value it does with the other stabby fist people that carry it around.
Now,
Agreed.
with
Well,
Sandman
the other
coming,
thing I see here
Exceptional
too
will
is
be a little more popular for foes.
That's true.
the other thing I see here too is the fact that he's running 2 Fs and a K, so he's running like Crisis with extracts in the middle of the table, and he's not running eyes, and he's got Bill.
That was another hole I saw as well.
Ooh, that's a good point.
We didn't get there quite yet, but David's opening that can of worms, so let's go.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's a must change. 100%. Gotta have eyes on the prize.
I think you got, especially if you're running. I mean, you're running cube, spiders, and paranoia, right? All of the crises
Yes.
that can use that card.
100%. Good catch.
And the tail of the tape on Spider Foes up till this point, I feel, and I don't think I'm in the minority here, is that they have a glut of 4s and like not enough 3s.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
splashing
they are-
3s is kind of premium, where splashing 4s is okay-ish, but you have to have a really good reason to put them in there.
And I like Bill. Bill's good. So, I mean, if you're gonna take Bill, you probably take eyes.
Yeah. I mean, there's almost no reason not to.
Oh, I hate the play. I hate it so much because I'm sick of seeing it. But you're not wrong.
I mean,
As long as AMG lets us do it, which I think my guess is at some point in time they're going to be working the game towards grinding that out of existence. But while it's there, you're really at a competitive disadvantage if you can't.
No,
And
agreed.
you've got ASM that can do it naturally. But I mean, if you're gonna put Bill on the table, you might as well have that in your tool belt.
And I mean,
good card.
Well, that and you're running 2 F secures and what was he? Was it paranoia?
Paranoia. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean you have like at least one mid grab in each of your extracts. So depending on who you're playing against, like if you're playing against a scenario, they probably have a safe extract grab and they're gonna grab the middle on you on spiders, infected, or struggle. But if you're playing against maybe an attrition, they might not have it, and you might have a shot at it. So you might, but I guess we can talk about extracts later. These might not even be ideal for this list.
Well, let's go into crisis. So we've kind of had a chance to talk to tactics a little bit. So if we're wanting tanky scenario play, are these crises ideal? Are there some better options for
them? Let's do secures first.
Okay.
I really don't know what Spider-Foes really wants, but I don't think they want scoundrels.
Yeah, I don't think they want scoundrels either.
Scoundrels
I
would be
don't
the
think
first one I drop.
I don't think they like giving the power, and I don't think they like 5 secures on the table. That's
Yeah, the 5 secures, like there are too many teams right now in the meta that plays scoundrels better than they do. If the meta was different, maybe the argument would be there, but right now it just isn't. And giving cover, like they don't have anybody who ignores cover, or this list does not have anybody who ignores cover. So you can't even.
Venom.
Oh, I stand corrected. You have Venom. So like I don't know if Venom is enough to really tip that in the favor of the list.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I mean Venom's nice, but it's not enough. I would agree.
What do you think about?
no.
What do you think about Mutant Madman? I was trying to figure out how that fit too.
I don't hate it because what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There's a lot of 4 physical.
6 out of the 10 models he has is 4 physical or better. Or
Not
no,
only
just
have-
4 physical.
Not only are there a lot of 4 physical characters, but also like Doc in a scrum is going to be able to generate more power than the opponent, typically.
Yes.
Just because of the leadership.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think that plays into pay to flips. How much you lean into pay to flips, I don't know. I'm not a foes expert, but I don't think they pay to flips, they're probably top 5 pay to flip team. It's
Yeah.
like what? X-Men Asgard, foes, maybe like
I could see,
X-Force probably is in there.
yeah, X-Force,
I
maybe
could see A
Guardians.
Force. I could see A Force trying to run pay to flips too. I don't hate them running pay to flips.
But I mean,
Yeah,
they're up there. Like I don't think it's out of place to run Mad Men. I kind of like it.
No.
It's just kind of a curveball to the meta. I do like it.
I guess I was more thinking if there's a number of teams that are going to play it better than your foes, you don't want to put yourself in a circumstance where you're handing your opponent an advantage.
In the meta right now, I don't know if there aren't any teams like.
Yeah. Well, and you've got Bill and Lizard who can like double move and flip their opponents. Madmen on round 1.
Doc Ock
which
can
is
do it too. I mean, you're not going to do that with Doc Ock, but he can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you've got multiple characters that are 4 physical that can like double move and steal a point, which is not for nothing. It's good. It's good.
I mean, as listed, you've got Doc Ock, Lizard, Beta Ray Bill, ASM, and Black Cat, who can all flip the back B. which
Can
is half the
Toad do
list.
it with range 2 interact?
He can. He can.
I'm pretty sure he
Okay.
can. 2 medium means in a range 2.
Yes, I think you're right. So 6 out of 10.
Okay. So if we think Scoundrels maybe doesn't fit, what's a better fit for a secure for this list and for that goal?
I gotta say, I really think it's Demons, even though it's another one that I hate seeing because it's in just about 66% of lists. It seems like Doc Ock's leadership really helps with it, though.
Yeah.
Because he can basically put out the incinerates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
and you're like, and Bill's immune to incinerate, and I just think it's a good. And like, I think you kind of want to be playing Crisis where you're, because they want to scrum, right? Because you want to be able to be getting more power off the leadership. So like, the closer you are, the more attacks you're gonna take.
I feel like the Demons pick will be better hypothetically depending on how we alter the character list.
Yes, that too.
Because I feel like
Oh.
a standard like
in other words,
the list as in go ahead, Patrick.
Well, I was just gonna say, in other words, if we know that Demons is one of the Crisis, then you're building your character list with that in mind.
Yeah, I don't think the character list as it stands is very good on Demons. Like you're gonna so like being a mid-range team is gonna be really sensitive to the meta that you're playing in. So I guess like if you're playing a local tournament, you know what your locals play a lot, then you can kind of customize your stuff to that. If you're playing in like more of a national or regional type tournament, I guess you could make a educated guess, or if you know people who are going, if it depends on like how knowledgeable you are of the people going, but it's definitely a sense. You can't just load it up with like an objective team can load it up with everything that scores high, and an attrition team can load it up with everything that scores low and be fine with it. That's just their game plan. But like a list like this is very sensitive to what else is being played. So I would say, generally speaking, Demons is probably good because there's a lot of scenario running around right now. But you might run into trouble if you run into, say, X-Force or Inhumans, a Red Skull 3 list, Guardians, something like that. Like you're really gonna get spanked on that, unless you have a list or at least a squad built to play on Demons.
Okay, so what do we think about the extracts? We've got Paranoia, Spider Infected, and Cubes.
I mean, I don't hate Paranoia with like Lizard and Bill, and like you got a couple of characters that can like either reduce damage or heal. So that's not terrible. But it scores so fast.
Right.
It's dangerous.
Yeah,
I don't hate it. It's my least. It's my most favorite out of these extracts for sure.
I would
yeah.
agree with that as well. It's just so tough to say because I don't think foes can play a scoring game like that, and you better hope you've got a better secure for yourself somehow. Because if your opponent is set for the extract play, webs will just walk all over this one.
Yeah,
Steamroll.
especially if they pull like scoundrels or something. Yeah.
Yep. And if you're playing your extracts, there, I mean, you got a 33% chance Scoundrels is going to
Yep.
show up.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be scoundrels, right? Like webs can play D's better than foes for sure.
Oh, agreed. Just throwing an example out there. I mean that you can score 10 points in one turn with those two.
Yeah.
So do you guys think a slower scoring extracts are probably more advantageous for a team like this?
Well,
Not necessarily slow score like attrition, just kind of like those mid-rangey ones. Like I think scrolls would be a great crises for this.
I think hammers feels good too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't hate hammers there either.
I think you two guys just nailed it with the even number extract scenarios, right? Because like if you like the game is kind of in a state still where you are typically picking your secures if you win prio. So if you land on your extracts, typically you lost prio, which means they get to act first, meaning that a spider or a cube in the middle is going to get taken by a scenario team, which puts you like the parity is broken by your opponent, which is not good, and it puts you at a major disadvantage. And struggle for the cubes is undoubtedly Hellfire's best extract. So I don't think you want to take that into a meta where Hellfire is arguably the best team.
Agreed.
Yep.
I think the third one should be alien ships. Just due to the fact that spider foes are kind of power hungry to begin with, and having a crisis where you don't have to worry about the repercussions, I don't hate.
I don't. Do you think so? Because like they gain extra power from getting attacked, and Rhino is probably in your core, so he's getting like ornery and the.
Yeah, I'm not sure you play alien ship. That might be.
I'm just throwing it out there because they're super power hungry. I mean, if I can stampede with Rhino every turn, I would absolutely do it. If I could throw something with Rhino every turn, I would absolutely do it. So he's getting that power, yes, but he's spending it just as fast as he's getting it.
Well, in Ox leadership, the game power a May?
It is a mandatory.
It's mandatory, and it's just
so
the
you
first
could.
attack.
So you could take damage after you've already activated, and then end up over the threshold, right? Just from the leadership and the taking damage.
You could
easily with Rhino, especially, the ornery.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would run it. I think I would run. Maybe it's this. The game needs more extracts. They're just like
100%. 100%.
Just not enough extracts. I mean, maybe it's virus. I don't know. I don't hate virus.
If it's not alien ships, then I don't hate the idea of researcher either. Specifically for those scoring teams.
I think at this point in the game, if you are planning on playing a mid-range team, you should probably play researcher. Just to punish the scenario teams, because Web Warriors do not want to play researcher, and Hellfire does not want to play researcher.
Nope.
Like those are the two absolutely worst extracts for those two teams. And right now in the meta, they're pretty dominant. I think you have to run that. Even if some teams are better than you at it, you still have to do it. And you just have a plan for it. You might be a little bit of a dog, but like you totally screw those scenario teams if you land on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, totally.
So let's kind of wrap it up. Let's summarize our suggestions. I think character wise, we were thinking that he might want to look at finding some space for Goblin and maybe looking to see if he wanted to put Metal Tyrant Ultron in. Anything else on the character side of things?
Yes, of course. You guys know me. What am I gonna say?
Something
Bring a Hulk.
green.
Hulk, baby, let's go.
Yeah. Hulk
doesn't like being incinerated. He doesn't like being shocked. We can clear those.
Yep.
It's true.
he loves the extra power.
Who does like to be shocked and incinerated, though?
I mean, not a 6 threat.
A 2-threat doesn't like it either.
Yeah, 6 threat likes it even more, or it dislikes it even more.
I don't think.
I'm not denying that. I'm just saying,
being
if you
shocked.
can find
Long doesn't really care if he's shocked.
if you can find me a character that likes being shocked or incinerated, doesn't care.
I guess my point is that if you need a single trigger on a target, like it's better to hit a single trigger on a higher threat because you are taking a bigger chunk of their activation by giving them a debuff. So like a 6 threat Hulk with Hex or a shock or something is miserable.
No, I agree. I'm just saying.
Again, and the other thing too with Hulk is that he doesn't get like a buffer, like he doesn't get a day side to remove conditions.
Yeah.
So
like his 20 health is literally 20 health. Ultron at 8-6 is probably more than 14 health just because they're probably going to overkill him on his front side by probably at least 1.
Honestly, Age of Ultron is just staple to him.
Yeah,
for sure. So I guess Ultron's a bad example because you know what I'm saying, though. Anyone with 2 sides is probably going to get overkilled a little bit on their front, so they effectively have like more like phantom hit points or whatever. But Hulk is just taking the damage until he's dead.
How about with tactics cards? Anything else that we can suggest?
Grand Illusion goes. If Ultron Metal Tyrant is in, Age of Ultron goes in.
And obviously eyes for something. I don't know.
If we could back up the characters a little bit, another exceptional healing character.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Like maybe an X-23.
Maybe an extra 23. Probably like Logan is so busted, but like X-23 is pretty overtuned too, and the list probably would prioritize 3s over 4s for splashes.
That's what
sure.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Okay. Any other sort of
like the rest of the team tactics cards? I feel like it's pretty strong actually.
Yeah, I like them.
Like there's
robberies, fantastic, right?
That's it.
Mission objective,
fallback,
lethal protector,
brace,
fallback. Yeah,
patch up's good. Like you're probably going to be swimming in power at a certain point. Patching up a damage reduction guy is just like can be backbreaking sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got riots too, so you could there's times where you're doubling up on that.
True.
Okay.
So what would the list? What if we could make a list for him? Yep. What would it look like? We're looking at Doc Ock, Lizard Rhino, Bill probably to start.
Yep.
I think Venom is fine.
Yeah, I think Venom's fine too. You can keep him.
Fine. You could swap Toad out for Bullseye. You're running a 5,
like
so you could.
I like Toad because it also goes
not run a 2 if you wanted to. But yeah, I mean, Toad is fine. He does the thing. I mean, he's still good.
To me, the 2 most cuttable characters are Mysterio and Spectacular. And if you want to swap those in for X-23 and for Goblin, I think you don't lose a ton, and you get a lot more flexibility in terms of stuff that the roster can do.
Well, I think if you're going to do that, I think you pull ASM2 for Ultron.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's right.
Yeah, I agree.
And then if you do that, then some of the tactics cards are pretty obvious. Grand Illusion goes away for Age of Ultron. You probably can bounce This Is Our Day for
Eyes.
Eyes, yeah.
That's right, that you need eyes. Yeah, everything else
It's fine.
probably is what you want. And then we added, and I think we kind of talked about, the scoundrels. We look at maybe swapping in demons for that. And then for your extracts, you look at something like scrolls or
Does Ox leadership remove stun?
No.
No, I think it's slow.
Yeah.
It's incinerate,
Lame.
slow,
Shock,
shock.
shock, slow, incinerate.
Yep. Yeah,
Lame.
if it took stun
Fisk
out,
would
then
have
all
been
of a
No
great,
sudden,
Fisk
yeah.
for you.
Fisk
Yeah.
real good.
No Fisk for you. So backing up here, we've got Doc Ock, Lizard, Rhino, Bill, X-23, Goblin, Ultron. We have 3 more spots.
Toad, Black Cat, and Ultron.
I already have Ultron, so Toad at a 2, Black Cat at a 3.
Did you have
We have-
Venom?
I do not have Venom.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 characters. We have 4 threats, 3 threats, a 2 threat, and a 5 threat. Does that add up? 4? No, that does not add up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh,
No,
sorry,
that's up.
4 threats.
Yeah,
We have
5
Doc Ock,
for Goblin.
Rhino, Bill, Goblin, Venom. Is that too heavy on the 4s? I don't know.
I don't think so.
You could make an
I-
argument for 5 4s if they're
Yeah.
important enough.
Because your threes are Lizard, 23, and Black Cat. And I mean, they're so flexible. You can, you can, maybe not Lizard, but I mean, there's not a time I can think of where they're not all usually pretty good ideas.
Yeah, I mean, Cat is just super strong.
Exactly.
X-23 is super strong. Like, there's good characters here. I mean, it's gonna play kind of like a Hellfire Club in a way. You'll take Doc Ock, Rhino, Lizard as your base, and then kind of build from there depending on points / needs. I do like it. You could make an argument for Bullseye over Toad, maybe, depending on which way you lean.
Well, if he said he wanted to be tanky and extract focus, if you're gonna be playing
Yeah, that's true.
extract, then Toad's your guy.
Yeah. Although, well, I guess there's not really a good exception. Well, X-23 is probably better than Deadpool. There's not a lot of exceptional healing targets in the game at 3
At
threat.
3.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're not going to run exceptional healing, you can always run Lizard's other card, Monkey Brain.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you could just, I mean, you could put recalibration matrix in there. I mean, that's never a bad decision.
You can.
Yeah. Whoa! We missed Hulk. We got to have Hulk in here.
Well, so let's see. So Hulk is it just depends on which. I think maybe the X-23 spot is where if you wanted to go kaiju and put Hulk in, maybe you could put him in instead of X-23. And then if he's doing that with his roster, then maybe that's where you go recal instead of exceptional.
I hate that.
Maybe.
I also don't hate dropping Brace for Sacrifice. I do like sacrificing with Ox leadership, right? To like
Yeah.
push an attack to someone else so that they gain extra power and potentially remove condition.
And we've talked about that it's a Ross that has a lot of high physical defense.
Yeah. I mean,
think-
it's just a thought, but I also am not a huge Brace fan anyway. Like, I don't know.
I am putting together a
The-
list that involves Professor Xavier, so I've become a big Brace for Impact fan.
David,
It's
you
still good
just
cards.
are not a fan of Brace because you can roll 4 crits on 3 dice.
That's true. That's true.
That's fair. That's fair.
Brace for Impact is probably the best restricted card.
Yeah, I think that's well, given how often it's taken, I think the community agrees with you.
Yeah. I mean, the investment into the card is very minimal, costs 1 power, and the effect can be super relevant.
Yep.
And it's reactive, so it happens when you don't have any control over the game, and it gives you control of the game.
Yeah, just
Which
imagine if somebody took Agents of Smash and threw an apartment building at you and you just spend 1 power and ignore it.
Dude, I'm
Nah.
putting Embrace in every list from now on, just because you said that.
Just because somebody's gonna do it.
Hulk's
Somebody's
giving me
gonna do
nightmares.
All right,
I
well,
think,
that was a good.
I think maybe you cut a 4 for Hulk. Possibly Venom.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say maybe Venom.
No, not Venom. Leave him alone.
Venom's
Man,
good.
we have
but
Venom love. We have Venom love versus Hulk love. This is gonna be a tough one.
the other issue is I guess there's only one affiliated 3, which is kind of an issue. I don't think
Oh, yeah.
Craven is not. Well, we already talked about Craven. I don't think, like, with the upcoming characters, I don't think Vulture's really gonna fill a void there.
I think you could consider Shocker.
Yeah, I think you can consider
Maybe
Shocker
Shocker.
too.
We'll talk about Shocker later.
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm not completely on board with Shocker for this meta, but maybe. So let's give a rundown of the list that if we were gonna make a list for our Spidey dude.
So-
Are we leaving out Hulk? Are we putting in Venom?
I think he said he likes thematic, so I think we better stick with Venom.
Okay, that's fair. So we've got Doc Ock, Lizard, Rhino, Bill, X-23, Goblin, Ultron, Toad, Black Cat, Venom, and then we have Fallback, Lethal Protector, Mission Objective, Patch Up, Sinister Traps, Age of Ultron, Eyes on the Prize, This is a Robbery, Brace for Impact, Exceptional Healing. And then for Secures, we have Riots, Madmen, and Demons.
Yep.
And then Extracts, we're going to do... Are we leaving Paranoia in?
I thought we talked about
What are we doing?
Scrolls,
Scrolls, Hammers,
Hammers, and
Scrolls, Hammers,
Researcher.
Researcher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
I,
like
think
that.
that's the way to go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
Spidey dude. Hope that helps. Let us know what you think, and let us if you end up using that. Let us know how it works for you. We'd love to hear it. But moving on, we have we wanted to get our deep dive, and it's really kind of worked out well that we had a Spider Foes roster that we were just talking about, because we just got ourselves a look at the full card for the Shocker, Herman Schultz. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of go through the card piece by piece, and give you a idea of what we think, where he's sitting, where we think we're looking at it. So, Alex, can you run through just kind of his baseline stats for us?
Yeah, Shocker. He's 4 physical, 3 energy, and 3 mystic. He's medium mover, medium base, size 2. That was just off of memory. I'm actually pulling this card up now.
Yeah, he's got 5 health on his front, 5 health on his back, and he is a 3 threat. So
Yep, 3 threat.
His attacks are both range 3.
Yep.
He gives out pseudo debuff shock at range 2.
Yep.
And he can add 2 dice to his defense with two power.
He's
I believe.
he's got vibranium shield.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's just walk through his stuff real quick. He's got a builder, vibro shock strike, range 3, 5 strength, power equal to damage dealt, stun on a wild.
And it is physical or energy?
It is physical. It is physical.
Physical.
Yes. Which is
Suspended-
kind of a womp womp. Like, why the fuck is Shocker physical? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It doesn't.
I
Well,
mean, all of
and-
this, like, he's sound based, I guess.
Yeah, he's
it's not necessarily energy.
Yep, he's sending out vibrations. So I can see how, kind of like Cyclops is supposed to be, he's Cyclops punching you in the face with an energy blast. It's a little bit like what Shocker's doing too. So I get that it's physical.
Yeah,
It
but
makes sense.
Cyclops is not physical.
Conceptually it should be, but that's a separate conversation.
But it's not.
I don't get that. Well, his spender's energy, so you can be happy about that. Shake him down. It's range 3, 7 dice, cost 4 power. On a wild, you get stagger. So that's his attack
Yeah.
suite. So I mean, it's relatively
It's actually-
baseline. It's baseline
It's
for its
actually fine. It's actually fine.
I mean, he's like bog standard spider foe, right? He's like
Yes.
medium base, medium mover with range 3 attacks.
Yeah.
That's like
or
so
physical.
on brand for them.
Yeah, it is.
He's got he's got vibrational shield, which costs him 2 power. If he's targeted by either a physical or an energy attack, he can add 2 dice to the defense roll against his attack. So yeah, he's basically got vibranium shield. And then the kind of the new stuff on his kit is if the ground is rocking, which is an unfortunate name. When an enemy character is within 2 of this character makes an attack, it rolls 1 fewer die on its attack roll. So he's got a buffed up version of Honey Badger's ankle biter. No, that's not right. No, it's not. It doesn't.
No,
reduce
it's
defense.
its own
reduces-
thing. It's just
Yeah, it's totally
attack
different,
dice,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's totally different. He's just
It's-
he's rolling 1 fewer die attack roll. So if he's within 2, you're sort of auto shocked.
Yeah, it's like way more range, and he's got a bigger base. So like the radius for that is way bigger than Honey Badger, and it notably it also affects combat with him. Whereas like if Badger's attacking a target within range 1
That's
of
right.
her, she does not get the debuff
Yep.
applied to them. But he will anybody attacking him within range 2 will have -1 attack die.
And also he has an immunity to stun. So what are our first thoughts? What when we see his card, his card's the same on the front and the back. My first initial thought was I was disappointed he wasn't a 2 threat, but that's a hobby horse of mine. What do you guys think? Good, bad, or meh?
I like him, and I would probably put him in meh for now. Not that he's bad. He's not super good. I just like him. I don't know how I feel about him in foes quite yet, but my first thought process is I really like him on Fisk. And the 2 affiliations I think of that like Fisk, Wakanda and Winter Guard probably don't hate having him around.
David, what do you think?
I think he's fine. Like his spender is a little expensive, but it is Wild Stagger, but Iceman is essentially the same, and his is 3 power, so like I don't know. I don't functionally know why they did it differently. I think he's I mean he's gonna be one of those characters that he's gonna stand on a point and be annoying. I just don't know if he's durable enough for that.
I mean, if you're within
I-
range 2, you're at -1 dice, and you get a superpower that adds 2 dice. I mean, it's got good.
I mean,
defensive tech.
I assume that he's gonna be foes and criminal syndicate, so like I could see
Yeah.
him in Kingpin Criminals. I think could be good there.
Is
And
he 5 or 6 health on the front?
He's
He's
5'5".
5'5".
She's 5'5".
Yeah.
He's pretty
Yeah,
squishy, even with his defense
but
deck on his card.
he does make use of what is it? The Shadow Organization, that criminals card where you can only attack him within
Yeah,
2.
super stealth.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think he uses that card pretty well.
If he's a criminal.
If he's a criminal, I mean,
He is a criminal. It's stated in the panel.
Yeah, it says it in the panel that he is. So,
Oh, does it? It'd be pretty hard to see him not in
Not a
syndicate.
yeah. So I assume it'll be syndicate.
I was thinking about I've been thinking about going back to playing defenders, and I think he'd be fun with Daredevil. If everybody wants to be up within 2 anyway. If you can get him in the mix as well, then everybody else that's around is rolling 1 fewer dice. And your worst case scenario is they're choosing to take Shocker out to make that go away, which means they're not punching Luke Cage or Daredevil or whoever else that you got up in the scrum.
I don't disagree with you. It's funny. The first thing I thought of, well, not the first thing, but one of the first things I thought of for him in the meta itself is against Daredevil defenders.
Yeah, he seems pretty good against them because in order for them to get the reroll,
Yep.
Yeah.
In other words, if you're getting into the reroll bubble, then you're losing. In other words, you're inflicting a penalty on exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is taking away a raw die is like very detrimental to like a lot of rerolls, right?
Mhm.
Because you can skull lock yourself or just like have too many successes to where you can't optimize your full rerolls with fewer dice.
And it does help that he's a medium base, so like he can theoretically contest anywhere on a point, and if you want to contest the point, you have to get within range 2 of him.
Yeah, the way the game works is that if he's contesting a point, you have to be within range 2 of him to be contesting the point as well. So if you want to sit on a point with him, you're going to be at -1.
Yeah. So I think he has good potential there. That's why I think Kingpin Criminals will like him for that, just because he can do what they want to do. Potato on a point, be annoying.
Well, the other thing I will agree with you on, I don't know if I necessarily love him in Kingpin Criminals, but like they're kind of at a lack for 3 threats in affiliation aside from Black Cat. I guess you could take Taskmaster.
I think
they've also
Go ahead, Alex.
They've got Mysterio and Craven, but we know your opinions on those two.
Well, they don't really do what Kingpin wants, right?
Yeah, they don't play like I like Mysterio in Kingpin. I think he lines up with Kingpin's game plan, but he doesn't line up with Kingpin's secures, right?
Yeah.
So like Kingpin wants to win early, win often, and Mysterio's the same way. Like you drag Mysterio out to deep water and he just sinks. Like they're kind of on the same level there, but Mysterio just is good on ease, and that's about it. So I don't know.
Shocker is going to be wanting to use his vibrational shield a lot. Other than the turn that he wakes up after being dazed, he's never going to use his spender, is he?
I mean, his spenders it's fine. It does have stagger, and I like having stagger on a 3 threat, right? Like
it's pretty good.
Trading activations with like a 6 threat or better is really good.
It's not even trading. Like you could do substantial damage. Like I would say Cat's Troublemaker is essentially trading.
Yeah, it is a sentry string because you don't really do much damage.
You do one, but
Yeah.
But for power, he doesn't. I don't see how he really generates power in any kind of effective way. And in order to stay upright enough to use his spender, he's going to want to be spending his power on his vibrational shield.
I think you'll probably use it at least once a game, though.
Yeah,
But the only problem
right.
is it's wild stagger, so you're gonna feel bad when you don't get the stagger.
Right, exactly.
yeah, I mean, if Shocker gets focused, he's going to have a lot of power, and he literally has nothing to do with that power except his vibrational shield and his spender, right? I think
Shocker
those are the only two things he can
Shocker
spend power on.
If Shocker gets focused, he's just going to fall down.
Yeah, but
That's
I
true.
mean, he's going to wake up. He's going to have a chance to rubber band back, unless they have
that's what I-
cryo and they decide to like just take him off.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, it seems like his his spender is just for the turn that you wake up from being stunned. Here's what you do. Other than that, it seems like that's never gonna. It's pretty
I mean,
unusual that that's gonna come
he
into play.
he could have the power in Doc Ock Foes, right? Like because
Yeah,
in Doc Ock Foes, if he's vibranium shielding or vibrational shielding, he's like. I mean, with foes, it's basically only costing 1 power because you're probably going to take a damage.
yeah,
and
that's true.
You're going to gain the additional power. So, like,
Everybody's gonna be calling that vibranium shield, aren't they?
I know
Now they are. We're such
yeah.
trendsetters.
Yeah.
You're welcome, webheads.
And I mean, immunity stun is good. It's good too. So, like, I think
Let's be honest. He's going to be a potato most of the time, right?
Yeah.
And his scenario of choice is probably going to be an E.
Yeah.
I
I agree with that.
Shocker has weirdly always been one of my favorite Spider-Man characters. I can't explain why, but I've always thought that the quilty look is cool and the model I really like. So I'm anxious. Shocker. I think Shocker actually is probably of the 4 in the Spider Foes. He's probably the one I'm the most looking forward to getting and painting.
I'm looking forward to Electro because all the other 3 I've been kind of a little underwhelmed about. Sandman is probably showing the most promise to me right now, but I really hope Electro stands above the crowd here.
Yeah, I'm anxious.
Yeah, that would be good.
Do we know any idea in terms of what his threat level is going to be?
I would assume he's probably going to be a 4, but nothing's been said or
That would be
rumored.
my guess. So, well,
Yeah, that'd be my guess as well.
I would really appreciate him being a 3, just because the foes have a kind of a black hole there.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Any final thoughts on Shocker?
I mean,
Pinky finger down, boys.
I assume he's gonna.
Or I guess ring finger down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and he'll probably have a tactics card, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm willing to speculate each one of them will have a tactics card. There will be, for whatever reason, because I'm sick of seeing these two, a reprint of a tactics card that's already out, and one
it'll probably be
Spider
like
Foes.
it'll probably be like Sinister Traps or something.
No, they don't usually reprint affiliation specific ones. They're unaffiliated cards that are reprinted.
Maybe they'll get weird and put in a version of Well-Laid Plans that works with both Dr. Octopi.
Doubtful.
I don't think they would do that in a box that doesn't have an
I wouldn't think so either, but who knows? Maybe they're getting more and more Games Workshop every day.
It's just closer to it.
There's 4 cards though. It would be cool if they gave each character a card.
No, there's 6 cards.
Oh, there's 6.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's where my math's coming
okay.
from. One for each of them, a reprinted unaffiliated card, and a Spider Foes card.
And
That's what
yeah.
I'm guessing.
I'm totally on board with that. That would be kind of cool.
You're right.
Yeah, it would be.
I would be satisfied with that for sure.
No, give me 2 Spider Folk cards. I'm sick
I
of seeing
mean, that's
these
ideal,
reprints.
right?
I'm
I'd
sick
be
of seeing
satisfied.
reprints. They're pointless, and my brace from the core box is good enough. Don't reprint 3 braces.
Oh, come on. You like to jerk off to alt art. I've seen you do it.
I don't.
I like the alt art cards.
No, I walked into the
personally.
bathroom one time, and your elbow was really vibrating there, and I just walked back out.
I'm still trying to. I'm still trying to figure out why we have 2 separate versions of Grievous Wounds.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, why do we need multiples of those cards? Like,
We don't need Grievous
are
Wounds.
cool,
Fuck that card, but we could
but,
use
like-
multiples of cool cards, right?
That one was a mystery. Okay.
I
Anything
mean-
else? Anything else on Mr. Shocker before we close up shop?
I mean, he's fine. That's what I think.
I think that's probably the best. I think that's probably the best. Is he's like, yeah, he's a guy wearing a quilt. He's fine.
He's fine.
He's
yeah.
an
I
affiliated 3-threat. I don't know
Yeah.
how good tanning out on like a radius shock is in this meta. I think it could be relevant in a different meta for sure. But right now I don't think he's that great. But I think once the meta shifts, if and when it does, he'll be considered probably better. Because shock is pretty punishing, especially if you can if you can stack actual shock and his aura.
Yeah.
Like that's like
That's true.
that could be backbreaking for some teams.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
He's gonna feel real good with Dynamo.
Oh god.
Ooh.
Like shock, aura shock, and reroll your attacks. Like okay.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
here's my 3 dice builder.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm re-rolling 2 dice for him.
Shooting rapid fire. 2
Yeah.
dice.
Oh,
Good luck hitting the hit for a second
Yeah.
shot.
Shocker is part of the anti-attrition meta. Who would have thought it?
He is. We'll have to see when it rolls around again. It inevitably will.
Yeah,
I think
But-
that's
it
true.
will.
I think that's
For
true.
now, I guess he's still a 3.
Yep.
Medium
Yeah.
base, medium moving 3. He's okay-ish right now. I don't think he's amazing. I'm a little underwhelmed, but that's probably to the state of the meta more than anything. I think if it was a real beat 'em up meta right now, I'd be a lot more on the shocker train.
so pre CGR is what you're saying.
Well, I guess we could go that. So even against Guardians, I don't know if Shocker's great because he's range 2 aura.
Right.
A lot of
Yeah.
these, like the Guardians, don't give a shit about range 2.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
they probably want to avoid being in range 2 of you.
Yeah, like he's good into like I was saying into defenders. I think he's really good, but against some
Yeah.
teams like even X Force, which is kind of one of the premier attrition affiliations currently, I don't think he's amazing either.
Yeah, or shield either.
Or Shield, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's terrible. Like he can still like run up on a point and just be annoying, right? Like you don't have to have them come into you. You can sacrifice actions to move him into the team. And then they have to decide, do I sit here and shoot him in the face with -1 die? Or do I have to move away, waste an action and shoot? Which is like probably fine for a 3-threat. I just like
Well,
I'm
and once
a
he has
little
enough
sus on his hit
power-
points.
He's not the
Once
worst
he has
character
enough
in the
power,
world.
he can move up and then stagger somebody and then create even worse of a problem, right? Like, do they run away and they're already staggered, or do they just attack him right there, try to attack somebody
Yeah.
else?
Yeah. I mean, he's got 4 physical and then 3/3. And he's got the vibranium shielding.
Yeah.
He might end up being a little tankier than I'm imagining him. Like just being a 5/5 with no DR is kind of not like it doesn't make me instantly think tanky, but he might be a
No,
little
but-
tankier than I'm thinking.
It's like
Well,
in the
well-
realm of Sam, right? I mean, Sam's essentially the same, but the problem
he's
is
better than Sam, right?
but Sam wants to use distance to his advantage. So
That's true. Like Sam can be Sam can hit people and be out of range of their retaliation, where Shocker is probably at range 3 is not going to be doing that at least
Well,
as
like he
often.
wants to. You're incentivized to have him within 2, right?
Yeah, for sure. We'll see. I don't think he's bad. I'm not overly excited for him, but I think he's probably a decent addition to Spider Foes.
Yeah, I think he's interesting. The shock aura, I think, has some real interesting play. I think it'll be interesting to see who gets clever and starts using some of that.
Well, I also think you can combine Shocker with cards like what is it? The what the fuck is that card? The one that gives you aggressive. Warpath. So like you could have somebody attack you and then you warpath into 2 so that their next attack they're losing a dice.
That's interesting.
So I like that. I think that's something you could do.
Okay. Any final thoughts before we close up shop with Shocker? All right. So webheads, we're gonna call this an episode. Don't forget, make sure you are following us on all the socials, on twitter.com, on Facebook, on Instagram. We now have a Threads account, so you can follow us on Threads. It's all Witty Bantercast. You can send us an email at wittybantercast@gmail.com. JP will be putting some of his artwork up on our socials. So if you want to enter our giveaway and you want to start thinking about what kind of model you want him to be painting, you can take a look at some of his work. That's where you'll find it. Patreon.com/wittybanter is where you can come in and be part of the fun for just $1 a month. You get extra entries. You get priority dojos of rosters like we did with Spidey Dude. You get all kinds of great benefits. Also, don't forget to rate and review us on your podcast application of choice. That really helps other people find us, so we can help keep growing our community as well.
It also gets you into the drawing for the giveaway, right?
Heck yeah! It gives you one entry for being an itsy bitsy spider and 2 entries for being a spider friend. So,
and one for the rating,
and another one for the rating. It's almost like we're trying to give this thing to you. We did have a question, and we'll put it out on the socials. We did have somebody ask us if we were going to be doing a Discord. We had initially kind of our yet another Crisis Protocol podcast shtick at the start was that you're in too many Discords already, but we're going to leave it open for you guys. So we'll put it out there. Do you want a Discord? Would you like to have a separate Witty Banter community where we can talk amongst ourselves and start doing some other stuff? The other thing we're going to do is we are going to be recording a bonus episode, an episode of Wicked Banter. This is going to be David. What are we going to be talking about in this bonus episode?
We're going to be talking about Avengers with OG Steve and his leadership.
Kicking it old school, going back to Discount Steve and seeing all the different things that he can do. So if you are a member of the Patreon, you will get that episode. If you are not, you will see in the feed a little bit of a teaser. So you'll get a chance to hear about it, but we won't be able to get to the whole thing until you come and join us on the Patreon.
We got to hype this episode up a little bit more, Patrick.
Oh, man. I'm running out of hype.
I feel like Steve is definitely a contender to shake up the meta.
Discount Steve. OG
Discount Steve. OG Steve. I think he is almost uniquely positioned to do that. I've thought that for a little while, and I think Adepticon kind of confirmed some of my thoughts on that. So it's going to be an interesting episode.
So this is an episode you really don't want to miss, webheads. And so you'll be able to check a little bit of it out, but in order to get the full benefit, come and join us on the Patreon, patreon.com/Witty Banter. Other than that, thanks for joining us, webheads. And until next time, be good. And we are off. How do I stop recording?
Tell Craig to stop recording.
I
Craig,
know, I'm
stop
trying to-
recording.
Yeah, that's actually probably about all it is, but
I think there's a little button.
we push these